Good morning. My name is Jasmine Harvey, Student and Engagement Specialist here at Mississippi Public Broadcasting. On behalf of the MPB Education Department, we would like to welcome you all to Workforce Wednesday. We would love to know who is joining us today, so please use the chat feature to let us know who you are and what organization you represent. You may also use the chat feature to ask any questions. Before I introduce our guest speaker for today, I want to give a quick overview of our workforce initiative. In 2018, MPB received a 2-year grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to create a workforce development initiative. Our initiative, Getting to Work Mississippi, focuses on advancing education and career readiness. We work with partners to assess challenges and opportunities and produce videos focused on career paths and the essential skills needed to be successful. We highlighted careers in these 5 key industry sectors: energy, manufacturing, healthcare, information technology, and logistics. Through this initiative, we learned not only are students not fully aware of career paths available to them, but they are also lacking those necessary soft skills to be successful. So we produced a fun soft skills video series addressing the do's and don'ts in the workplace. Also, out of our initiative, Workforce Wednesday was born. These meetings are hosted every 3rd Wednesday of the month, and we are glad that you all have joined us today. All the videos and registration for Workforce Wednesday are available on our website at education.mpbonline.org. And don't worry, I will add the website to the chat feature. Our program today is our continued efforts to celebrate teachers across the state. To express our gratitude for their dedication and service to Mississippi students, our workshop will highlight Mississippi Department of Education graduate program, Mississippi Teacher Residency, that is now open for applications. Now, to begin our program, I will introduce our guest speaker. Today's guest speaker is Dr. Courtney Van Cleve. She serves as the State Director of Educator Talent Acquisition and Effectiveness at the Mississippi Department of Education, where she works to ensure that every school has effective teachers and leaders. Dr. Van Cleve's love for learning started as a student in the Starksville Public School District and led her to become an English teacher. She then became an elementary school principal through the University of Mississippi Principal Corps. Her longstanding beliefs in the power of effective educators to transfer students' lives is rooted in partnering with teachers to improve Booker T. Washington's accountability label from an F to an A rating in 3 years as an administrator. Thanks to Dr. Van Cleve's strong education foundation for Mississippi Public Schools, she later received her doctorate degree from the Harvard Graduate School of Education. During Van Cleve's time with the Mississippi Department of Education, her team has launched the nation's first performance-based licensure pilot, expanded the Mississippi Teacher Residency, and developed a statewide picture of Mississippi educator shortage to highlight the need for a well-deserved teacher pay raise. I bring to you our guest speaker for today, and let's welcome Dr. Courtney Van Cleve.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, and thank you so much for that warm welcome, Mrs. Harvey. You all, I truly appreciate Mississippi Public Broadcasting for the opportunity to speak with you all today. I shared with Ms. Harvey and others before this that you all are fulfilling a lifelong childhood dream of mine, because my parents listened to Mississippi Public Broadcasting as I was growing up, and it just, we always joked that, you know, we'd really made it in the family if you ever got to speak on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. So it's truly a joy to be with you all today and have an opportunity to speak a bit about the Mississippi Teacher Residency. And since in the spirit of Teacher Appreciation Week, which I truly believe every day should be Teacher Appreciation Day for all the tremendous educators we have across Mississippi, did want to take this opportunity to speak a little bit, since it is Workforce Wednesday, to both some of our Mississippi educator workforce trends and the Mississippi Teacher Residency. So I'll go ahead and get started with that now. And then I do believe we'll have some time for questions at the end, but was there anything you all wanted to add before I jump in from our friends, Mississippi Public Broadcasting? Okay. Excellent. Wonderful. Well, so if you have ever been in anything that the Mississippi Department of Education has facilitated, you know that we always start with our vision and mission, which I will do now, which is that our vision is to create a world-class educational system that gives students the knowledge and skills to be successful in college and the workforce, and to flourish as parents and citizens. Within that is our mission to provide leadership through the development of policy and accountability systems so that all students are prepared to compete in the global community. Within that mission, our State Board of Education has set forth 6 strategic plan goals. And if you'll advance the slide to that, we will be talking mostly today about goal 4, which is that every school has effective teachers and leaders. And the thing that we believe, because I work within the Office of Teaching and Leading here at Mississippi Department of Education, we truly believe that ensuring that every school has effective teachers and leaders, that's the foundation for students to graduate high school and be ready for the college or career of their choice, to ensure that they have access to high quality early childhood programming. And we really do ultimately want to ensure that every school and district is rated C or higher. So within our work at the Office of Teaching and Leading, we get to work with the adults in the building frequently in support of, in service of the children of Mississippi to achieve those outcomes. So within that, though, those are certainly aspirational outcomes. And if you'll advance to the next slide, again, because it is indeed Workforce Wednesday, we wanted to provide an overview of some of the educator workforce trends that we are looking at within the agency. And within that, some of the most notable trends that we've had within this year on our workforce did indeed come from the Educator Shortage Survey. If you'll advance the slide, I'll give a brief overview of that survey. Within our particular division, which is the Division of Educator Talent Acquisition and Effectiveness, we launched the Educator Shortage Survey on August 31st of 2021. It closed on October 11th, 2021, and 100% of Mississippi's traditional public school districts did indeed complete the survey. So what we believe is that the results from this survey offer some of the most comprehensive picture of Mississippi educator workforce needs statewide, because in addition to information on teacher shortages, which we're all familiar with, and especially around the need to address, we also collected information on administrator and school support staff shortages. That's a little tongue twister, along with district generated strategies, because it's our belief within this office that those who are closest to the problems and the challenges within education must be involved in crafting the solutions to move us forward. So with that, I will now move into an overview of what we see. So at a high level, district leaders across the state of Mississippi reported an anticipated 3,036 certified teacher vacancies for the 2021-2022 school year. So this school year, which is completing for many of our districts. And within that, those are the certified teachers, those are the individuals that you think of, your math teachers, your special education teachers, art teachers, et cetera. In addition, district leaders then took that number and added to it for an estimated 5,503 educator workforce vacancies. So that is the certified teacher vacancies plus vacancies for administrators, teacher assistants, bus drivers, school cafeteria staff. And so we do again have that more comprehensive picture as a result of this survey. And so moving into the next area, we'll discuss some of the classifications that we pulled and highlight some of the workforce needs that are right here, right now across the state of Mississippi. When we look at that 3,036 number for teacher vacancies, some of the highest overall areas of need were elementary school teachers, followed by high school teachers, followed by K-12 teachers, and middle school teachers as well. One area that I'd highlight within K-12 teachers, this includes special education teachers, which is a huge area of need across the state. So between elementary and special education, those were two of the areas that we highlighted. We also found when we look at K-12 licensed educator vacancies, such as those for librarians, counselors, speech language pathologists. We had 232 anticipated vacancies there. When we looked at K-12 support staff vacancies, this was a huge insight for us, was the degree of especially teacher assistant vacancies, bus driver vacancies, and food service staff vacancies were some of our biggest overall areas of need too. So while we're going to be talking about more so teacher vacancies today, for those of you who are in the audience and interested, we also do have significant vacancies and thus available employment opportunities for teacher assistants, bus drivers, and food service staff members as well. There were fewer administrator vacancies across the state, but as we know, school leaders are indeed a key lever in advancing student achievement. So that is one of the areas we'll continue to keep an eye on. So with that, that picture in mind, we looked across our regions and we also found that Congressional District 3 had the highest overall number of vacancies. And again, this is that out of that 3,036 teacher vacancies, Congressional District 3 was the highest overall at 1,274, followed by District 2 at 776.5, then District 4 at 709.5, and with the smallest overall area of projected vacancies being Congressional District 1 at 276. So as we keep that particular picture in mind, that really sort of has formed a lot of the impetus for the Mississippi Teacher Residency, which, moving into the next slide, is what we'll begin to start talking about. To give it a broad overview, the Mississippi Teacher Residency is part of our statewide strategy to increase teacher diversity and effectiveness across Mississippi. With that goal in mind, we're also trying to address some of the elementary and special education shortages that were indeed highlighted through the Educator shortage survey. To give an overview of where we've been with the Mississippi Teacher Residency, if you'll go to the next slide, this has actually been a long-standing effort that folks may or may not be aware of. So it was started with the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, who granted the Mississippi Department of Education over $4.1 million in 2018 to establish the nation's first state-led teacher residency. So again, Mississippi really was on the cutting edge of this work in 2018 and has continued to be so. It is again part of that statewide effort to increase educator diversity and effectiveness through extended high-quality clinical practice with the guidance of an effective mentor teacher throughout. The program is now in its third year with its third cohort. It is in partnership currently with Delta State University, Mississippi State University, and William Carey University, along with the Gulf Park, Jackson Public, Ocean Springs, and Sunflower County school districts. Based on the success that we've seen with this program, which I'm going to highlight momentarily, the Mississippi Department of Education has awarded over $9.8 million in grants to expand the Mississippi Teacher Residency at Delta State University, Jackson State University, Mississippi State University, the University of Southern Mississippi, and William Carey University. This was indeed a statewide grant. It was offered for applications to all Mississippi universities, and those were the ones that were selected through a competitive process. And we're also excited to share that there are indeed so many Mississippi Teacher Residency districts that are projected to participate in this expansion that we didn't actually have enough room on the slide to list them all, but we'll give some more information on that momentarily. That being said, this is a huge investment for our state. It's a big expansion, and we wanted to provide some of the data that we used to support this decision. It was indeed founded and funded through federal ESSER dollars in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So one of the key and compelling data points that we've seen with the Mississippi Teacher Residency, again, through those first three cohorts, is that we are indeed meeting the charge to increase educator diversity through the Mississippi Teacher Residency. If you take a national picture in mind, our United States teacher diversity has continued to hover at about 20% of teachers identifying as a person of color. Within the Mississippi Teacher Residency, however, we see a much different picture. Again, we're three cohorts in, and on average, the Mississippi Teacher Residency, 70% of our candidates identify as a person of color. So that's one of the indicators that we're looking at a lot around teacher diversity. And let's move forward now into teacher effectiveness. What are some of our early indicators? If you'll advance that slide. So we are continuing throughout the program to evaluate and monitor effectiveness. One of that is through both mentor perceptions of effectiveness, but also through the candidate's own perceptions of their effectiveness. So every year we survey our mentors and our MTR candidates, and across 4 core domains in effective education, we found that our mentors who are working with our residents on a daily basis truly do believe in the effectiveness of their candidates and of their residents in terms of instructional planning, the learning environments that they're facilitating, student, family, and community engagement, and also engaging in a level of professionalism and leadership, even as early career educators. The telling moment for us is when we asked our mentors about their mentees, their residents, how prepared they were to serve as the teacher of record following this program. And 87% either agreed or strongly agreed that their mentee, their resident, was indeed prepared to serve as the teacher of record at the conclusion of this program. So as I said, though, we also want to get a sense on what residents believe about their own preparation. So if you'll advance to the next slide, we surveyed our residents across these same domains of instructional practice and planning, learning environment, student, family, community engagement, professionalism, and leadership. And we found that their perceptions were indeed very similar to their mentors' perceptions, particularly on their preparation in terms of setting up positive, affirming learning environments for their students, and also engaging in a level of professionalism and leadership. Perhaps the most exciting piece for us is our current graduation rate for cohort 1 of the Mississippi Teacher Residency, which is sitting at 80% currently. And so one of the things that I think about a lot in terms of workforce development and why we're so proud of that graduation rate, it's that, when you think about choosing a career, it's an investment. It's an investment of your time. It's an investment of your money, particularly when education is involved. And it's also a bet. It's a bet you're placing on your future. And with that graduation rate, combined with the number of shortages that we do indeed have statewide, we're going to continue to work on that. Even that being said, I can say with confidence that the Mississippi Teacher Residency is a really strong bet for both graduating with a workable pathway forward to an inspiring career in education. And so again, if you are indeed interested in a career in education, or your networks, you have individuals who are indeed interested in that career in education, the Mississippi Teacher Residency is a really strong bet for their future potential earnings, and perhaps even more so importantly, their future potential impact on our children and on future generations. So with that, we've seen a lot of strength with the program. We're really excited about it. And I think it begs the question of how are we doing it? What is the program actually involved? So if you'll move forward into the next slide, I'll provide an overview of what the program includes, some of its key elements. The biggest piece of the Mississippi Teacher Residency is the depth of the university partnership with eligible critical shortage area designated districts that share that same vision of effective teaching and practice. The Mississippi Teacher Residency at its core aims to bridge the divide that can sometimes happen between the theory of how you teach and what you actually need to do when you first hit a classroom with the beautiful minds that are in front of you. And at the core of that aspiration is this partnership between our districts and our universities. We also have a commitment to diverse participants, such as people of color, men, veterans from the armed forces. So I was really excited to see our Department of Veterans Affairs was joining us today, because that's indeed one of our target populations for the residency. I just say as selfishly as the wife of a veteran, it's certainly an area that's important to me too as well. We're also targeting our teacher assistant pools, knowing that they've had a lot of practice in the classroom, but perhaps just haven't made that jump yet to assume lead teaching responsibilities. Through this work, we provide a year-long pre-service clinical teaching and training along with an experienced, effective mentor teacher that is then integrated with the coursework resulting in certification and a master's degree. This is the exciting part, which is fully funded by the MDE. This entire experience, the coursework, the textbooks, the testing fees, the mentor stipends, it's all funded by us. It really is kind of a Cadillac all-inclusive package for those individuals who are indeed interested in becoming educators. We do provide targeted testing support for residents along with professional development for our mentors. This then results in strategic graduate, elementary, and special education placements in a geographical critical shortage area district and a commitment to teach in that district moving forward. So the neat thing there is you're actually being prepared to teach in the district that then has a vested interest in hiring you upon graduation. So with that, we continue, as is hopefully evident from the data that's been presented at the MD, we continue to conduct ongoing assessment of the program effectiveness and planning for sustainability moving forward. There's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement. And that's something we truly do take to heart at the Mississippi Department of Education. So, okay, maybe I've sparked some interest here. Who's actually eligible for the program? If you will advance the slides. At a baseline level, MTR eligibility includes, but it's not limited to, because again, our university partners have some additional programmatic requirements, but at a baseline level, our candidates need to hold a bachelor's degree. Again, this is a graduate route program, so they need to hold a bachelor's degree. It does not have to be in education, and a minimum passing score on either, this is an or, the Praxis core, or a 21 or higher on the ACT SAT, or a 3.0 GPA based on 60 hours of coursework via an unofficial transcript. And finally, the Praxis content knowledge test acceptable scores to show that level of baseline readiness to teach in an elementary or a special education setting or a special education setting. And so with that, if you'll move to the next slide, I did indeed want to provide everybody the information for the application itself. The good news is our application is still live. We are still accepting candidates. We will continue to do so until all of the slots are filled. They are indeed filling fast though. So we do encourage interested applicants to go ahead and apply. Again, the benefits include full scholarships for university tuition, books, and testing fees, that ongoing support from a high quality mentor teacher, a master's degree and pathway to Mississippi teacher licensure with employment upon graduation. The key thing there though, as a caveat, that is pending successful completion of program requirements. And with that, if you will advance to the next slide, I've provided my contact information as well. We'll go ahead and put the link, and then we'll go back to the application slide, but we'll put the link to the actual website in the chat. And then, because I think the link to the website is going to be more relevant than my contact information here. So if you'll go back one slide, we'll go back to the QR code. Again, I just encourage you all, hold up your phones, take advantage of the QR code, get the link, and definitely share it in your networks. I saw we've got some community development centers. We've got districts who are joining us. Please feel free to spread the word far and wide, because it is indeed the Mississippi Teacher Residency with opportunities across our state. And with that, I'm going to stop speaking now to see if there are any questions from the group.
Thank you so much, Dr. Van Cleve. We do have a few questions for you. That was wonderful information. And we did, for those of you who aren't familiar with QR codes, I'm still learning them myself, but I learned recently that you can just snap a picture of it and the link and everything you need to fill out will pop right up. So thank you for sharing that QR code. The first question is concerning about teacher pay raise. You can speak a little bit to that, and how do you think it affects this program and the enrollment that you might have?
Yes. Well, I mean, the good news, I like to say every day right now is a great day in Mississippi education, because no matter how frustrating any given day gets, I get to say on a regular basis, you know what, it's okay, because Mississippi teachers got a pay raise. It's a well-deserved historic pay raise for all Mississippi educators. And the thing that we are excited about with the Mississippi Teacher Residency, because again, I said, choosing your career is an investment. It's a bet that you're placing. And with much more competitive salaries for early career and entering career educators, we are indeed hopeful that this will spur a lot of interest in the profession, because we listen to educators and aspiring educators all the time who will say things like, I really want to be a teacher. I've always wanted to be a teacher, but like I can't do it. It's not financially responsible for me to choose this pathway, even though I want to, and it's all I want to do, because the salary just isn't enough. And so we are hoping that the Mississippi teacher pay raise that was passed was indeed especially competitive for our early career educators in those first few years of teaching. And that's one of the things that we know nationwide too, is we tend to lose a lot of our educators. We lose about 50% of our educators in their first 5 years of teaching. And so we're hopeful that the teacher pay raise, combined with, again, a fully funded degree program, will then be enough of a financial incentive to offer people that possible pathway into the classroom of their dreams. And so we are indeed now, the nice thing that we can say is we now indeed offer starting salaries that are actually higher than our neighboring states, which has not historically been the case. So Mississippi now offers a higher starting salary at sort of a baseline level than neighboring states of Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Alabama. So we were really excited about that from a teacher recruitment and retention standpoint.
That is absolutely great. What a great time to be a teacher.
Yes, particularly in Mississippi.
In Mississippi. Yes. How many teacher slots do you have that you can award under this Mississippi Teacher Residency?
Yes, thank you for asking that one. So it is up to 200 slots. This is a big, substantial program. It is indeed up to 200 slots. And the place that we are at right now, so we had our priority deadline was April 15th. We're currently working to be able to send notifications out to those individuals who met the priority deadline. However, we're continuing to accept applications on a rolling basis until either one, all 200 spots are filled, or two, our university partners reach out to us and say, we literally cannot accept any more candidates because classes start like yesterday.
Yeah.
So whichever one of those two things comes first, but it is indeed 200 slots, and we have district partnerships across the state of Mississippi.
Great. Partnerships make the dream work, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
And speaking of those partnerships, this last question speaks to that. Will students have to go to a particular college for the coursework? And I heard you say there's work in a particular school. How does that part work?
Yes, absolutely. So when upon notification of so let me back that up actually. Yes. And when you go to the application using the link that has been provided, like I said, there are actually too many district partners now for us to list on one slide. When you go to the application will outline both the university and their designated district partner. So you can go through and scroll and see exactly which district is partnered with which university. And we also allow candidates to choose up, they get to rank up to 4 different district university partnerships. Now you could choose to rank all 4 with the same university. I'm one of those, I grew up as a Mississippi State professor's kid, but then went to Ole Miss for grad school. So if you're like dedicated, you say, I'm going to Mississippi State, just using me as an example, going to Mississippi State, you could actually select 4 different partner districts with that university. Or if you're just really open and you're saying, hey, I'd like to see my life in 4 different places across Mississippi, you could indeed select 4 different universities and different university partnerships. And the candidates also have an opportunity to rank their choices too. They get to rank up to 4 choices. And within that, what we then do, once we get all the information from the universities and all the information from the districts in terms of eligibility and selection, we then compile all of that into a matching process where we also take candidate choice and preference into account too.
Great. I do have one additional question that was just put in the chat. It says, how does this work, or can it work for an out-of-state person who wants to be a part of this program?
Sure, certainly. And an individual coming from out of state could certainly apply. The application is definitely not only limited to Mississippi residents. That being said, upon their application, they would indeed need to commit to a Mississippi university and district partner.
Great. Well, thank you. Those are all the questions. And I just want to reiterate one thing that you said earlier. In addition to the Mississippi Teacher Residency program, there are many vacancies across the state at MDE. So that's good to hear that there are vacancies, so that means there's lots of jobs. So if you want to play a role in educating our children, because we know these vacancies are part of that village in helping to educate our students. So thank you, Dr. Van Cleve, for sharing this information, particularly about the Mississippi Teacher Residency program. And I will say one more time, fully funded. That is awesome. It is fully funded. So thank you very much. Thank you for sharing all this great information with us today.
Absolutely. And thank you again to Mississippi Public Broadcasting for just hosting this series and allowing us the opportunity to share some of the opportunities that we're able to provide for our educators here in Mississippi.
Absolutely. So now we do give away a few door prizes. So everybody stick around. We have 3 door prizes to give away. And Jasmine, are you going to help me give away those door prizes?
I am.
All right, Miss Shelby Walker is our first winner. And we get to spin it again. Well, that one is so close. We're going to give that one to whose name is close right there? Miss Julia. Oh, Miss Julia, I won't mess up your last name. Congratulations. Spin it one more time, Jasmine. Well, see, we did it right the second time. We're going to do it one more time for our third winner, Jazz. It is Christy Strickland. Thank you all. So in order to get your prizes today, please send your mailing address to jasmine.harvey@mpbonline.org. Send your mailing address to jasmine.harvey@mpbonline.org. And before you go, we have a few announcements that we will share with you. The first announcement being about our Summer Learning Family Fun Day, which is coming up on June 18th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Jackson Convention Center. We will have lots of our education partners from across the state joining us just to provide some resources and fun learning activities that will take you through the summer. So join us there on June 18th. Our next announcement is about the next Workforce Wednesday. We have these every third Wednesday of the month. And so the next one will be June 15th from 11:30 to 12:30. We look forward to you joining us there as well. If you have missed a Workforce Wednesday, don't feel bad or left out. We have posted them all on our website at gettingtowork.mpbonline.org. Any missed Workforce Wednesdays, you can go back and take a look, even at this one today, and you can share them out. And to also keep up with Mississippi Public Broadcasting's education department and all the great things that we're doing here from early childhood to workforce development, we encourage you to sign up for our MPB Education newsletter. And you can do that at our website at education.mpbonline.org. So to visit us, you go to our website at education.mpbonline.org and check out all the things that we're doing here in education, as well as follow us on our social media sites on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you will see our handles there on your website, your screen there. And as we have been talking about teachers today, MPB Education has been celebrating teachers all month long. Teacher Appreciation Week was May 2nd through the 6th this year. We decided to continue celebrating teachers across the state for the entire month, which we will continue to do for the next couple of weeks. We put together a special presentation today of teachers who have been highlighted so far, but we want to say thank you to all the teachers for your service and dedication to Mississippi students. Thank you to those teachers. Now, if anybody has any teachers they want us to have a teacher they want us to spotlight, send them to Jasmine, jasmine.harvey@mpbonline.org. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a great rest of your week.